last night for the first time. And certainly there is room in my heart for a Japanese son, yes.
For decades, Japanese superstars have left their native land to join Major League Baseball and spin their craft against the world's best.
See ya! A grand slam for Hideki Matsui! Hideo Nomo has pitched a no-hitter. Base hit, there it is! 4,000 hits!
The exchange went both ways for nearly 20 years as groups of MLB stars would make a biannual pilgrimage to the Far East to face off against Japan's best in the Major League Baseball versus Japan All-Star Series. Now, after a 7-year hiatus, a fresh group of Major League luminaries journey to the land of the rising sun for a showdown against their Japanese counterparts in a battle for international bragging rights. Next, the follow back, it's over his head, and it's a 3-0 lead off the top of the wall for Robinson Cano. Zobrist scores easily, swing and a miss, strike 3. The Japan offense, loud and proud. The Major League All-Stars look to get in the win column next on MLB Network. Welcome to the Tokyo Dome in Japan for Game 3 of the 2014 Japan All-Star Series. Tonight, some of the finest players Japan has to offer square off against the Major League Baseball All-Stars, led on the mound by Royals starter Jeremy Guthrie. It's a showcase of some of the world's best right here on MLB Network. But it's been all Japan through the first 2 games. They're 2-0 to this point. Major League All-Stars turned to 4th-generation Japanese-American Jeremy Guthrie in Game 3 with Darrell Hamilton on Paul Severino. And Darrell, Guthrie, probably the freshest arm having pitched in the World Series.
Yeah, you would think so. Pitching Game 7 of the World Series, pitched very well. It's been solid all year, but I think this is an opportunity he's been looking for. Like you said, a 4th-generation Japanese-American opportunity to kind of go home and pitch in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, met some of his family coming over to Japan. And he joins a number of other Royals who have played a ton of baseball this season. Alcides Escobar in the lineup again, having played 179 total games, 167 for Sal Perez to this point, including the trip to Japan. Amazing. And they have seen plenty of Yuki Yanagita, who had himself a huge night in Game 2.
That would be an understatement. Yanagita went 3 for 4, 4 RBIs, a homer shy away from a cycle. Was pretty much on top of everything. Swung the bat well, stolen base, did it all for Team Japan.
And he was doing damage to the Major League All-Stars at the top of the lineup. As you mentioned, just a home run shy of the cycle, as that close to clearing the wall in center field. Again, from the top of the lineup, he was great, but the bottom of the order also did some damage for Samurai Japan, as Matsuda, who's been moved up here for Game 3, went 3 for 4 with a home run, 3 runs scored. And Ito, 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored. Compare that to the 0 for 8 and 2 strikeouts for the bottom third of the Big League All-Star lineup. And it's been all Japan to this point. The Major League All-Stars try to get back in the win column. In fact, in the win column for the first time. Can John Farrell and his bunch do that? We'll find out. Lineups and first pitch coming up after the break. Once again, Ben Zobrist leads off. A slight change. Justin Morneau still in the lineup, but the DH as Lucas Duda takes over at first to perhaps add some pop to a lineup that needs to score some runs.
Yeah, they've been having trouble scoring runs. That they need some pop in this lineup. Hopefully he can come in and do a job for them.
So that's what John Farrell is putting out there for Game 3 as the Major League All-Stars look to get in the win column for the first time in this Japan All-Star Series. They did win that first game against the joint squad of the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants. And they will face Takahiro Norimoto, who was 14-10 this year with an ERA just a little over 3 at 3.02 in 202 2.2 innings pitched with the Rakuten Golden Eagles.
Fairly young guy, 23 years old. I think the one thing about him, he's not that big. Only 5'10", 178 pounds. Got a good fastball in the low 90s with movement. Started 28 games this season, 7 shutouts, and 9 complete games.
So we'll see what he can do against the Major League All-Stars, a team that obviously is looking to get a win here in this Japan All-Star Series. It hasn't happened often that the Major League All-Stars or a Major League team has come over to Japan and not won the series. So that's what's ahead of them going forward, with still 3 games to go and of course 1 exhibition game at the back end. Some rules and regulations for this Japan All-Star Series. The roster is made up of 29 players. 28 are active for each game. 2 umpires from Major League Baseball and 2 umpires from Nippon Professional Baseball. We're using the DH, of course. Once we get to extra innings, it gets a little interesting. After 10 innings, the inning begins with runners on first and second, and we know this: we will not go more than 12 innings. Haven't gotten to that point yet. Closest we came was an 8-7 victory for the Major League All-Stars in the Japanese Professional Baseball 80th anniversary game, that split squad of the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants. It was a win, an 8-7 victory for the Major League All-Stars. Robinson Cano in the lineup, of course, as he has been each of the games in Japan, was the DH yesterday. As we will take a look at the defense now behind Norimoto. Again, slightly different look, but still terrific defenders for Samurai Japan. Nakata, Maru, and Yanagita left to right in the outfield. Matsuda, Sakamoto, Kikuchi, and Yamada go third to first, with Shima behind the plate. So Norimoto gets set as Samurai Japan has won the first 2 games of this 2014 Japan All-Star Series. They have impressed. They have played fundamental baseball. They've played crisp baseball. Haven't hit for much power. They did have a home run yesterday. That's pretty much been it. We get the play ball signal, and here we go. Ben Zobrist steps in and takes ball 1. Mike Winters is behind the plate. Kyohei Makita is at first base. Jerry Lane, the second base umpire, and Masanobu Sasaki is at third base. The 1-0 pitch to Ben Zobrist is in there for a called strike. Zobrist was 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored in yesterday's game. For the series, 2 for 8 with 2 strikeouts as well. And the 1-1 pitch, shot foul down the left field line. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think when you're talking about earlier how Samurai Japan looks a little more crisp, they've been swinging the bats a lot better and taking advantage of some mistakes. They just look more of a team at this point, and it's so hard when you put together an all-star team for guys to be on the same page. Samurai Japan has looked that way so far.
Perhaps a bit of a cross up. Count even up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And I guess that's also the thing, just when you look at the roster construction for the Major League All-Stars. I mean, Ben Zobrist is not an everyday left fielder.
Right.
He's had to play left field in 3 games. Chris Carter played left field to start. Lucas Duda played left field at one point in that game against the Tigers and Giants. The only true outfielders on this lineup, everyday outfielders, are Dexter Fowler and Yasiel Puig. So when you look at what John Farrell has on his bench, he's got a ton of power, obviously, with Chris Carter. Up until today, you had Lucas Duda on the bench. Jose Altuve's on the bench. But it's just a matter of figuring out where to plug these guys in all these ball games. Matsuda moving over. Does he have room? He does. And goes into the slide. 1 away.
A lot of room down the line in foul territory. Almost like playing in Oakland at this point.
A closer look at the roster for the Major League All-Stars. They've got 3 catchers. A bunch of different options that can play at first base. Mentioned Morneau's the DH today. Carter can play over there. Duda can play over there. Carlos Santana can play over there. But it's just a matter of a lack of everyday outfielders that has obviously forced Ben Zobrist out there with limited experience. But still, this team needs to hit. Robinson Cano just 2 for 8 in the series, as you can see. Came really close to hitting a 2-run home run in yesterday's ball game, but was thrown out trying to stretch it to a double, and he takes a called strike 1.
And make no mistake, this is not like putting together a team for the World Baseball Classic. It's the end of the season. There were a lot of guys who they asked if they wanted to come over and play in the series. Always tough to get guys to do it, especially at the end of a long season. You got to commend the fact that the guys who have made this trip decided to do it.
No question about it. And the guys that are here want to be here for sure. This is not any sort of situation where they were forced to be here. Day trips around different parts of Japan, really enjoying the culture, the food, the sights, and really taking it all in. And you hate to say that the baseball aspect of it is secondary, but this, and you've been a part of these Japan trips before. They're a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you come here to play baseball, but like you said, it's an afterthought. I mean, you're not thinking about it right away. I mean, once you get between the lines, yeah, you want to go out there and play well, but initially you're just enjoying yourself.
The 0-2 pitch to Robinson Cano. He goes fishing, and there are 2 away. Norimoto's first strikeout. Yeah, see Yasiel Puig, Sal Perez, Dave Winfield with the Players Association touring Kyoto. Of course, 4th generation Japanese American Jeremy Guthrie, who's starting this ball game, enjoying the culture as well. Drake Levins. So the guys have had fun on and off the field. Sure, you'd like to come here and win all your games and play extremely well, but again, just to enjoy something and experience something that probably most haven't is something to behold, as Evan Longoria fouls the first pitch back. 0-1.
And Japan is such a beautiful country. I mean, when I had the opportunity to come here and do that, did a lot of sightseeing, a lot of traveling around. And we actually played 2 games that counted against the Chicago Cubs when I was at the New York Mets.
Evan Longoria has had himself a nice trip to Japan so far. 3 for 6 with a run scored, 2 doubles against Samurai Japan, and of course had the grand slam against the joint team of the Tigers and Giants. But down on the count 0-2 and takes outside 1-2.
I talked about in the opening, Norimoto in the low 90s. Doesn't seem like that right now. Seems like he's blowing gas. I'd say mid to upper 90s at this point.
Norimoto was the Rookie of the Year for the Pacific League in 2013. His counterpart, Jeremy Guthrie. A couple of weeks after pitching Game 7 of the World Series for the Kansas City Royals. The 2-2 to Longoria. Checked his swing, and the count runs full. And this, unlike the World Baseball Classic, where you can get your timing right, build upon it, and then go into the season playing hot, for Longoria, who had a bit of a down year, hitting in the 250s. See the ball pretty well so far in Japan. The payoff pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Norimoto in a 1-2-3 first. We see Samurai Japan after the break. Samurai Japan lineup. We talked about Yuki Yanagita, who had a terrific night in Game 2. Sho Nakata, 3 straight 20 home run seasons in Nippon professional baseball, but just 1 for 8 so far in this series.
Yeah, well, struggling a little bit at this point, but look, this entire team has played very well as a unit, and that's what you want. They're preparing themselves for the World Baseball Classic in a couple of years. Let's not fool ourselves. This team is trying to get some young players experience, and the best way to do it is playing against the Major League All-Star team.
Norimoto had a couple of strikeouts in the first inning, got Robinson Cano, got Evan Longoria in a 1-2-3 first inning. Longoria not happy, obviously, to go down on strikes as Jeremy Guthrie delivers the first pitch, and Yanagita, first pitch swinging in the air, sends Ben Zobrist back to the track, puts it away for out number 1.
Well, at least they're consistent from yesterday's game, where they're going up swinging a bat first pitch, getting that first fastball, opportunity to see it come across the plate, and they're hacking at it again.
Yanagita was 3 for 8 in the series with 4 RBIs. Is probably a good thing for Jeremy Guthrie. You'd figure that the blood's certainly flowing in this ball game.
You certainly couldn't tell from that look.
No,
it looks
not
so
at all.
Relaxed.
I mean, I guess when you start a Game 7 of the World Series, you know how to settle your nerves.
Yeah, it's such on a huge scale. And after that, I mean, nothing else really matters. I mean, you pitched the biggest game of your life.
This one on the ground. Escobar toward the hole, jumps and throws out at first base. What a play by Alcides Escobar.
Talked about earlier in the show the fact that he's played in every game this season. You figure you wouldn't have anything left. If you're figuring that, you're wrong. Nice backhand in the hole, comes up with a strong throw to first base. It's such an amazing play. It looks so easy from his standpoint, but it's such a difficult play.
It's a page right out of the recently retired Derek Jeter playbook. The old jump throw. So an all-Royals battery with Sal Perez behind the plate. And Alcides Escobar taking what could have been a hit away from Ryosuke Kikuchi. And Nobuhiro Matsuda takes low for ball one. Matsuda 4 for 7 in the series with 4 runs scored and the home run yesterday. Had been hitting in the bottom third of the lineup the last couple of days, but moved up to the 3 spot and on the ground to Robinson Cano. And a 1-2-3 first for Jeremy Guthrie. Matching zeros through 1. We go to the top of the second. Japan All-Star Series. Paul Severino, Darrell Hamilton. A quick first, both top and bottom. And scoreless as we move to the top of the second inning. 4, 5, and 6 due up for the Major League All-Stars. Justin Morneau, who connected on a long home run yesterday. His only hit of the series to this point, just 1 for 8. As he faces Takahiro Norimoto here in the top of the second. And takes a called strike.
Think at the end of the first inning when Longoria at the plate, you get caught up in the festivities, enjoying yourself, doing a little traveling, a little sightseeing, but you still want to go out there and perform well. You saw the frustration throwing the bat down when he struck out. It's not getting confused. These guys are baseball players. They're still trying to go out there and put together a good game, get ready for the off season.
Morneau again with the home run, just 1 for 8 against Samurai Japan, but was also 0 for 3 against that split squad of the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants. And now down to the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And takes low, 2-2.
Tell you, the way that the MLB All-Stars have been taking pitches on that fastball, he's getting it up there pretty good. With a good mid-90s fastball, and then throws that split finger. That's such a difficult pitch to hold off on.
Let's go back to yesterday for Justin Morneau. This had to feel good after a couple of struggles through the first few games.
Yeah, seeing a few off-speed pitches here and there, and then you get a fastball kind of middle in. Shows his power. Straight away center field. We're not even in Colorado, so that's a good thing, right?
You're right.
I think a lot of hitters who play in Colorado get a bad rap because, yes, the ball carries a little bit more, a little further than other places, but you still have to hit it.
And a swing and a miss for Justin Morneau. 3rd strikeout for Norimoto, and there's 1 away here in the second.
Now, it doesn't matter that I had my career high as a member of the Rockies. That's just hearsay.
That's just an aside.
Yes, that's a side note, but yeah, the ball does jump. But everybody has to play there, so what's the big deal?
Exactly. And he won a batting title this year in the National League, hitting .319 as Yasiel Puig steps in. The right fielder moved up to the 5 spot in the order here for game 3. He takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. 0 for 4 so far in Japan.
I think it's so good having Yasiel Puig play in this type of all-star game.
Line drive right at Kikuchi at second base, 2 away.
You get a chance to meet some guys you never had the opportunity to play with. You know, they may have their perception of how you are on the field or playing against them, but you get a chance to become teammates, and it opens up a little bit a different perspective. I think that's good for him to be seen by a lot of guys in that MLB All-Star clubhouse.
Yeah, and I guess that's the difference between this and just a regular All-Star game where it might last 2 days.
Right.
I mean, these guys are together, traveling different cities, different parts of Japan. long flights back and forth to really get to know each other.
And that's really important as you go through the regular season, because believe me, these guys are not just going out there playing baseball, not talking to each other, not trying to become friends. They're all in this thing together.
Sal Perez 0 for 7 thus far in the Japan All-Star Series.
Tell you what, though, he hit a couple balls last night that were scorched.
And the 1-1 from Norimoto off the end of the bat. Perez did connect for a home run against the Tigers and Giants in the game prior to the start of the Japan All-Star Series. But since then has taken an 0 for and now down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. That one's outside. And just to play John Farrell for a moment here, I mean, look, Sal Perez has played a ton of baseball. We've documented that the last few days. Jeremy Guthrie starts, obviously, this ball game today, and you just wonder how much more Sal Perez will really be playing these last, whether it's the second half of this ball game once Guthrie comes out, or the last 2 games after this, and then, of course, the exhibition game. He loves to play. He's a baseball junkie. We know that.
Yeah, we know that, but you know, he still has to take a break. I know a lot of fans may say, well, the off season is coming up. No big deal.
In the air, left field, should stay in the ballpark as Nakata puts it away just in front of the track. So a 1-2-3 second as well. To the bottom of the second we go. First 2 games of this series, although they have not fared exactly that great against the Major League All-Stars in years past. This is since 1986. 48-22 are the Big League All-Stars. They've won 9 of the 10 series. There was that 4-3-1 best-of-8 series that Japan won back in 1990. We haven't seen a sweep for a while. Obviously, not since the last time. That would have been 2006. But Jose Reyes breaks a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 10th with a 2-run shot, a walk-off win, and a 5-game sweep of the Nippon Professional Baseball All-Stars. That was the first time that a team of major leaguers swept a tour of Japan since the Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig All-Stars in 1935, when they went 17-0, Daryl.
Oh.
17-0.
Well, a little bit different back then. I think the lineup was
I mean, Ruth and Gehrig and me would have been imposing.
All Hall of Famers. Except for you.
Right,
that was
of course.
the case.
Yet. Whatever. Sho Nakata takes a called strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes. But yeah, I mean, 17-0. I don't care who's in your lineup. To win 17 straight games.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Hard to do.
Pretty impressive. All the way back in 1934. A good first inning for Jeremy Guthrie. Went 1-2-3. Worked efficiently against Hiroki Kikobu's Samurai Japan squad, as Nakata fouls that one back and stays alive. 2-2. Nakata 1 for 8 in the series with a couple of strikeouts, but one of their promising youngsters that they hope can be at the center of a successful Japanese national team, of course, for the World Baseball Classic. Next one coming up in 2017. They hope that a lot of the guys that are on this squad, kind of that next generation of Japanese stars, can continue the success of that Japan national team, having won 2 of the 3 World Baseball Classics to this point. Nakata down the line, fair ball toward the corner. Zobrist will dig it out. But extra bases to lead things off here in the bottom of the second inning for Sho Nakata. Let's take a look at the defense behind Jeremy Guthrie. Ben Zobrist is in left field. Dexter Fowler in center. Yasiel Puig in right. Longoria, Escobar, who made a terrific play in the first inning, is at shortstop. Cano and Duda gets his first start at first base. Sal Perez behind the plate.
Nakata getting his first extra base hit. 3 straight 20-plus home run seasons. And 27 this past season. You're right, he's one of the up-and-coming stars, only 25 years old.
As Yoshitomo Satsugo, the DH, takes a called strike.
It's kind of funny. You're talking about someone 25 years old. It's almost like it's an older player now. The way the league has kind of turned these young guys at 20, 21 years old are becoming stars.
Guthrie's 1-1. Popped up. Longoria out number 1. You're right. I mean, the guys that come to the forefront of your mind, obviously Mike Trout, Bryce Harper. Madison Bumgarner, you'd probably think is like 32 years old. I mean, I think we've said it enough in the last few weeks now to know that he's still in his mid-20s. But just been in the big moment. Sakamoto, left field. Zobrist back, looking up, home run. A 2-run home run for Hayato Sakamoto, and it's a 2-0 lead for Samurai Japan.
Sakamoto kind of taking a page from the rest of the guys in that lineup. Don't wait on an off-speed pitch. Get in the batter's box and swing the bat. Get a good fastball, go for it. Turns on the Jeremy Guthrie fastball, kind of middle in, up in the zone. We were talking last night about how Samurai Japan players basically focus on the middle part of the field, but if you make a mistake, they will take advantage of it.
Yoshihiro Maru takes, and they count out 1 ball and 1 strike. 19 home runs in the regular season for Maru, who's been a defensive replacement late in games, but gets the start in center field this evening. 16 home runs in the regular season for Sakamoto, but he's hit as many as 31 in previous years. So after keeping the ball in the yard for the first 2 games, the Major League Baseball pitching staff, home runs in now back-to-back nights as Escobar over to first for the 6-3 put out, and there are 2 away here in the second. Kind of knew off the bat. The home run yesterday from Matsuda, the home run today from Sakamoto, both going to left field. And they have impressed for sure, this Samurai Japan team. Tetsudo Yamada takes a breaking ball in there for a called strike. Yamada 2 for 4 with an RBI so far against the Major League All-Stars in this series.
I don't know if I'm a Kansas City Royals fan, if I'm a little nervous at this point, because 3 of their top players have pretty much played the entire season, and then some. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, I know a lot of fans may think, okay, well, the all season is coming up, they'll be fine, they'll be ready for spring training. It's almost like a running back in the NFL. You take a lot of carries, you have an off season, and you'll be able to rest up for next year, but it takes its toll, and it continues to kind of wear you down. You continue to play so many innings, seeing so many pitches, it wears you down for the following season.
And we've talked about Perez and the number of innings that he has had under his belt behind the plate, but there are 3 catchers on this roster, so depending on if John Farrell decides, again, after he works with his own pitcher Jeremy Guthrie, as Yamada takes the walk. You know, and again, I'm just speculating. I have no insight to that. But you figure that would be a good spot to maybe say that Sal Perez can shut it down. There are 2 other catchers on this roster. For Alcides Escobar, a bit of a different story. Now, we did see Jose Altuve come in as a defensive replacement in the game against the Tigers and Giants before the Japan All-Star Series officially got going. But Altuve's never played every day a shortstop in the major leagues. Not an everyday shortstop. Can he play there for 2.5, 3 games? Probably.
Eduardo Nunez also on the roster, can play shortstop. But I think Perez catching is probably the toughest position to play so many games, because you're bending down, standing up, you're taking foul balls, you're doing all these little things that takes its toll. And I would be really concerned with him still catching in the next 2 more games after this.
2 more than the exhibition game, yeah. And again, just to talk, finish up that point about the roster, you got a guy like a Zobrist who might see some time at second, at third, is in left field right now. So that's I guess the benefit of having those guys that can bounce around the diamond, like a Zobrist, like a Nunez, to fill those different spots, because Evan Longoria's played a ton too here.
Yeah, he has. The way he's swinging the bat, I might want to keep him there. In fact, I might want to keep him there the whole off season.
And Guthrie, who was so efficient and so sharp in the first inning, now up to 31 pitches after having surrendered the leadoff double to Nakata and then the home run to Sakamoto. 3-1 pitch to Shima, misses outside, and back-to-back walks with 2 away here in the second.
Guthrie, the career high 216 innings pitch this past season.
Pitcher coach Mike Maddox trots out. Mentioned Guthrie's Japanese ancestry before, and he has openly talked about maybe one day playing Nippon professional baseball. Going over to Japan, and he's got something left in the tank. Playing Nippon professional baseball. We've seen a number of guys do that. Andrew Jones, after a lengthy major league career. Kevin Youkilis. Casey McGee was in Japan, came back, won comeback player of the year. Cecil Fielder in years past.
Jesse Barfield.
Yeah. Top of the lineup back around here for Samurai Japan in the second inning as Yuki Yanagita fouls that one off. He flew out back in the first inning. Now he's up with 2 on and 2 out. Yamada at second and Shima at first, both reaching via the walk.
I think probably 20-25 years ago, playing in Japan was like you weren't good enough to play in the major leagues. So you went over, made a little money, and hopefully had enough financially to retire. Now it's one of those situations where if you play in Japan, it may be an opportunity to start your career again, because the major league teams are watching. They're seeing players over in Japan who put up some pretty impressive numbers, and they're giving them an opportunity to come back to the States and get their careers going again.
The 1-2 from Guthrie misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think Casey McGee is probably one of the prime examples of that. For 100 RBIs for the Brewers one year, comes to Japan, couldn't get a job in the big leagues, comes to Japan, puts up some pretty impressive numbers, comes back to the big leagues, starts up again.
Big strikeout for Jeremy Guthrie, but a 2-0 lead for Samurai Japan thanks to Hayato Sakamoto and his 2-run home run. Major League All-Stars trailing again in this Japan All-Star Series. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the guys who hit the most home runs in a single Japan All-Star Series going back to 1986. Ryan Howard had 4. Barry Bonds had 4. The aforementioned Jesse Barfield and Von Hayes each with 4. So it's nice to go over to Japan after a long season and still have a ton of success, especially with the long ball.
Jesse Barfield back in '93 played with the Yomiuri Giants. 26 home runs, 104 games. Really got his career going again by going to Japan.
And Sakamoto with a home run in the bottom of the second inning to give Samurai Japan a 2-0 lead. And since that basically an 8-0 lead in that game against the Tigers and Giants, the Major League All-Stars have struggled offensively. They were outscored in the second half of that ball game, essentially, those 7 unanswered runs. Lost game 1, lost game 2, and now down 2-0 here in game 3 as Lucas Duda getting his first start at first base in Japan. Swings and misses 0-1. Got the start in left field in that exhibition game. And now starting at first base, Justin Morneau still in the lineup with the DH today. So John Farrell switching things up.
And this is a classic example of the argument, when do you have an all-star game or a World Baseball Classic? Do you have it at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season?
Duda swings and misses. 3 pitches and 1 away here in the top of the third. 4th strikeout for Norimoto.
We're talking about having it at the beginning of the season. The main worry would be what happens during the regular season. You save yourself, more importantly, to have it a good year during the regular season. You have it at the end of the season. Guys are tired, playing 162 games. The season's worn them down a little bit, so they're not the same type of player. And that's one of those debates that, there's no really right answer.
Dexter Fowler tipped into the glove of Shima, 0-1. Fowler's 1 for 6 in the series with 2 strikeouts, but homered in that exhibition game. In there for a called strike. Fowler, one of a few guys with the Major League All-Stars that's played every inning thus far in Japan.
One of only 2 pure outfielders, along with Yasiel Puig.
Norimoto's been impressive. That's 5 strikeouts with 2 outs here in the third.
And he's feeling a little bit. He's sitting back and he's throwing as hard as he can. To get the radar on this, but high fastball. It's a little bit like Ventura, Kansas City Royals. That little leg kick, a little follow through. Okay, guys, here comes a fastball. See if you can hit it.
7 pitches, 7 strikes.
Wow.
As he starts Alcides Escobar with one on the outside corner.
I think our scouting report may be wrong a little bit.
Wow.
We had him at the low 90s. I don't think that's low 90s.
Can we see this? Can we see the rare 9-strike inning? 3 strikeouts on 9 pitches?
Tell you, he throws it right there again. Yes, we will.
The 0-2 to Escobar. Did he go?
Yes, he did.
He did not. That close. 8 consecutive strikes to begin the inning. As a home plate umpire, familiar with that guy, Mike Winters behind home plate, a Major League umpire, one of 2 that are on the umpiring crew for this game 3 of this Japan All-Star Series. The 1-2 pitch from Norimoto to Escobar. Line drive. On a hop, big hop for Kikuchi. He could play second base, slick with the glove, won a gold glove in the Central League. Good defense behind Norimoto. 2-0 Japan. Back with you. 2, 3, and 4 for Samurai Japan as Kikuchi plays the big hop and retires Escobar to end the third. And now Kikuchi leads things off in the bottom of the third against Jeremy Guthrie. First pitch swinging. And Dexter Fowler puts it away. 1 out. Guthrie was extremely efficient in the first inning. 5 pitches, 4 strikes. Second inning, totally different story. 32 pitches in the second inning alone. 16 balls and 16 strikes. They made him work, as Nobuhiro Matsuda, who grounded out to end the first, steps in with one away here in the bottom of the third.
Kind of the same thing we saw last night with Iwakuma. Come out early, first inning, pitching very effective.
And on the first pitch, Matsuda lines a base hit into left field.
Then struggled afterwards. It's almost like Team Samurai Japan is kind of feeling things out that first inning just to see what the starter has, and they kind of turn it on afterwards.
Sho Nakata, who led off that second inning with a double, came around to score on the Sakamoto home run, will step in. It's almost like Guthrie's just trying to get those first pitches over for strikes, and Samurai Japan is ready to swing. Just the third pitch of this inning. And out, a hit, and now a strike to Nakata, the 0-1. Swings at that one, sends it toward left field, and that's gone. A 2-run home run for Sho Nakata to double this to a 4-0 lead.
Second hit of the game so far. Double in the first. Or excuse me, double in the second. Home run in the third. Talked about Nakata. He's got some pop, 24 home runs last season.
Yoshitomo Satsugo swung, and it's 0-1. So two-run home runs surrendered by Jeremy Guthrie, and now a 4-0 lead for Samurai Japan. Sho Nakata was an all-star in Nippon professional baseball this past season. First-round draft pick of the Nippon Ham Fighters in 2007.
Correction, he had 24 home runs in 2013, 28 in 2014. A lot of people say the stadiums in Japan are a lot smaller than Major League Baseball, but obviously the players in Japan team is taking advantage of this.
They scored those 7 runs. Now, granted, it was the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants, but they scored 7 runs without the strength of a home run. They won game 1 2-0 without a home run. But these bats have come to life these last few days for Hiroki Kikobu's bunch. He was on the SoftBank Hawks in 2011 as a player and won the championship, but now the manager of Samurai Japan since October 2013, and will be the manager of the national team in the World Baseball Classic as well. Ben Zobrist puts it away. 2 outs.
We look at the dimensions of Tokyo Dome. It's similar. It looks a lot smaller, but it's similar to a Major League Park. 328 down the lines, 361 in the gaps, 400 straightaway center. Got about a 15 to 20 foot wall out there as well. Ball seems like it carries a lot better in this dome.
Carried for Sakamoto in the second inning when he went yard over the left field wall to open the scoring. But now 4-0 Samurai Japan against Jeremy Guthrie and the Major League All-Stars. Guthrie now up to 50 pitches.
Try to figure out what the Team Japan captures when they become
just foul.
When they play as a country in a World Baseball Classic or any type of situation like playing against a Major League All-Star team. No, it's something different because that old adage, some teams look better as a team, but not necessarily the talent is better. And I look at this ball club and I see that. They do everything well together. I think there's a little more talent on the MLB All-Star team, but that doesn't transpire into a win.
Payoff pitch to Sakamoto. Jammed him. Zobrist over toward the line. Makes the catch, and the inning is over. But Sho Nakata connects on a 2-run home run against Jeremy Guthrie and doubles Samurai Japan's lead 4-0 as we go to the fourth.
Starter Takahiro Norimoto has kept the MLB All-Stars off balance all night long. 40 pitches so far, 28 strikes, 5 Ks. Has mixed it up with a good fastball up top. He's gone with a changeup and forkball as well. Offensively, they have found a way to catch the home run ball.
As Sho Nakata connected a 2-run home run over the left field wall off of Jeremy Guthrie. Now a 4-0 lead for Samurai Japan. Paul Severino, Darrell Hamilton back with you. Samurai Japan already with a 2-0 lead in this series, and now a 4-0 lead in game 3. 1, 2, and 3 due up for the Major League All-Stars as Ben Zobrist takes a strike, and that is now 8 first pitch strikes to the first 10 batters of this ball game for Norimoto.
And that makes it tough on any hitter when you go up there and the starting pitcher is throwing strikes, especially a guy who you're not familiar with.
And when a guy's around the plate so much on that first pitch, why doesn't the Major League All-Star team just do what the Japan team's doing, and that's jump on the first pitch, get aggressive, and get something going?
Well, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where it's the end of the season. A lot of guys are trying to find their timing again. They just hadn't got it back yet. They want to see some pitches to kind of get used to it again. Problem is, Nakamura is throwing strikes, and you find yourself down 0-2 or 1-2 before you ever feel comfortable in the plate. Makes it very, very difficult. You got a guy who's throwing so many pitches for strikes.
Zobrist towards center field. Maru back, edge of the track, puts it away for out number 1.
You almost have to take the attitude right now is go up there and just hack. I mean, if you get a fastball first pitch, there's no use in trying to take it and work the count. Just go up there and swing it. Zobrist looking fastball, got one, just didn't do anything with it. Hit the ball pretty good to center field. Seems like those balls are warning track power to the MLB All-Stars compared to Samurai Japan's team, where 2 home runs already.
Robinson Cano struck out back in the first and takes outside for ball 1 here in the fourth. Cano had a couple of hits in the exhibition game, but just 2 for 9 since this Japan All-Star Series has started. Grounds to second base, and there are 2 away. Norimoto's in a really nice groove right now.
Oh, that would be the understatement of the century. I mean, he keeps throwing strikes. He's getting ahead. And when he gets ahead with his fastball, he's able to throw other pitches. And I think that's the one thing that confuses a lot of the hitters in the MLB lineup. You miss that fastball, all of a sudden here comes a splitter, here comes a change, here comes a slider. And those pitchers, by not playing enough at the end of the season, those are the ones you're trying to get your vision back and get more comfortable as a hitter again. Takes a while.
Evan Longoria's been pretty comfortable, 3 for 7 in the series. Did strike out back in the first inning, but wasn't happy with himself when he did strike out. He's been about as locked in as anybody, and he's been going the other way a lot too.
I think he's going to have to start figuring that out during the regular season. Got a little too pull happy towards the end of the season, especially. And that happens to a lot of young hitters, and he's still a young player. Let's not get caught up in the fact that he's had some success over the years. He's still fairly young.
A little bit of a Daisuke Matsuzaka type delivery, right?
Yeah, a little hesitation at the top.
A little bit of a hip waggle. Longoria thought that was ball 4. Instead, it'll be a full count with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th.
I think that's one of the things that makes it so tough when you're playing against a Japanese pitcher. That little hesitation. It's hard to get your time together when you see that. You're sitting here focusing, okay, let me see what I can do as far as pick up the ball. Oh, he's hiding it behind his head, and here it comes.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. 6th strikeout for Norimoto. He's faced the minimum through 4. The All-Star Series continues all this week. You can see Robinson Cano, Evan Longoria leading All-Star Major League cast against the best Japan has to offer. The next game live Sunday, 4 a.m. Eastern from Tokyo. Primetime replay, 9 p.m. only on MLB Network. See Chris Capuano in Game 4, Matt Shoemaker in Game 5. But it's been all Norimoto to this point, as 12 up, 12 down, and 6 strikeouts to this point. Also helps that he's got a 4-0 lead on the strength of 2 two-run home runs. Here's how he finished off Evan Longoria in the 4th.
Great pitch right on the outside corner.
First pitch swinging for Yoshihiro Maru. Dexter Fowler puts it away, 1 out. Rookie of the Year in the Pacific League in 2013 was Norimoto. A couple of years with the Rakuten Golden Eagles. Same team as Masahiro Tanaka, so you'd think those two had a couple of conversations. In 2013, Tanaka was the Sawamura Award winner before heading to the New York Yankees. Yamada takes inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
Tanaka that year was 24-0, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
He didn't lose a game. Okay, how about that?
He went the first few starts with the Yankees and didn't lose a game. I thought he was never going to lose again. But I'm just naive that way. The 2-1 pitch from Guthrie. On the ground, Longoria into foul territory, across his body, safe at first, but not by much. What an effort from Evan Longoria.
Amazing play. The 2-time Gold Glove Award winner. Longoria backhanding that ball, going in foul territory. And making a strong throw to first. Kind of off balance. Where's instant replay when you need it?
Long stretch, too, by Lucas Duda at first. Longoria is fun to watch. See what the Rays look like going forward. Obviously a changing of the guard in the front office with Andrew Friedman going to the Dodgers. Joe Madden, once Friedman left, was able to opt out of his contract with a year remaining. He goes to the Chicago Cubs. And the managerial search underway in St. Pete.
Evan Longoria, kind of the elder statesman now at 29 years old.
Shima to Puig in right field, 2 away.
It just feels like yesterday when Longoria came up. Seemed like he was only in the big leagues for about 3 weeks before he signed a long-term deal with the Rays. Now he's 29, a seasoned veteran on that ball club. You're right. It's going to be interesting to see what the Rays will do. First, they have to get a new manager. I think that's the one thing, and there's been talked about a number of guys, but no one has been named yet.
Evan Longoria is under club control until 2023, so he will play for this next manager. He might play for the manager after that. Depending on his success, maybe the manager after that. But yeah, I mean, the Rays obviously a team that struggled so much in the early part of their franchise history, getting to the World Series in 2008. Kind of crept up out of nowhere, but then stuck around. I mean, they were in the mix just about every year up until this past season, when they just dealt with a ton of injuries, especially to the pitching staff. Traded away James Shields, traded away David Price, recently traded away Jeremy Hellickson, a former Rookie of the Year. So that team will have a new look 2015 and beyond. The 0-2 pitch to Yanagita fights that one off. 0-2.
Yeah, in my opinion, the two teams that were probably more consistent in any other ball club, in the American League especially, were the Tampa Bay Rays and the Oakland A's. You could always count on those two ball clubs being around towards the end of the season.
Obviously similarities with those two teams. A really smart front office, able to do a lot with a little in terms of resources. But now Andrew Friedman has the exact opposite of little resources with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The 1-2 pitch to Yanagita in the dirt, throw down to second base, and it gets into center field. And advancing to third is Yamada. Sal Perez threw out 25 of 82 potential base stealers. This throw was out of the reach of Escobar.
And a pretty good play by Perez. He backhanded that ball, picked it on a short hop, came up throwing just a little wide towards the right field side of second base.
So the potential fifth run 90 feet away. The 2-2 pitch in there for a called strike 3. So Jeremy Guthrie, just his second strikeout of the game. Big leaguers looking for a hit. Come back. Talked about the similarities between the delivery of Takahiro Norimoto and Daisuke Matsuzaka. Matsuzaka in 8 big league seasons, an ERA right around 4.5. A little over 8 strikeouts per 9. But in his first season with the Boston Red Sox, 2007, won a World Series title. Norimoto has been mowing down the Major League All-Star lineup. 6 strikeouts to this point through 4 perfect innings, including Evan Longoria twice.
Same type of delivery as Daisuke. A little bit of a hesitation at the top. I don't know if he has a gyro ball. Been waiting to use that all day.
Justin Morneau swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air to deep right field, but Yanagita, with his back against the wall, makes the catch. So talked about maybe a change in approach because he's been around the strike zone so much, especially on the first pitch. And Morneau tried to jump on that first one and hook it to right field, but just a lazy fly ball.
Yeah, he got the fastball that he wanted, but it was middle away and he tried to turn on it. Hit it pretty good, but trying to hit an outside pitch, trying to turn on an outside pitch, usually you're going to end up with warning track power.
Yasiel Puig swings at the first pitch, shoots it down the right field line, and it'll reach the seats. 0-1.
I say usually you get warning track power unless you are a slugger that plays for the Miami Marlins. How about that?
Yeah.
I think that ball probably would have been up 10 rows.
Yeah.
With Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah. Well, he hits him to the warning track, but it's the softball field across the street from the ballpark.
All the discussion about him signing a 13-year deal. That's, to me, that's unbelievable. But that shows the confidence that the Marlins have in what they have.
Puig pops it up behind the plate, and Shima puts it away for out number 2. Yeah, there's been some discussions that Giancarlo Stanton, who missed out narrowly on a National League MVP, could be signing a 13-year deal. Just to say 13 years sounds like a lot.
Unbelievable.
But then the money that's being discussed, $325 million they're talking about, in that neighborhood.
And I'll give him credit. He is the one player, the only player I've seen over the last number of years that I would compare to Mark McGwire during his heyday in the late 90s. And I say that because Stanton is someone who you get to the ballpark early to watch him take batting practice. That was the one thing about Mark McGwire when I was playing. We as players on visiting teams got out early to watch him take batting practice. It was a treat. And I know a lot of guys, and I've talked to a lot of guys in the league, they do the same thing with Stanton.
This one on the ground too short. Sakamoto scoops it up, throws to first base. 5 perfect innings for Norimoto, and a 4-0 lead for Samurai Japan. Japan, it's the 2014 Japan All-Star Series on MLB Network with Darrell Hamilton. I'm Paul Severino. Some rules and regulations behind the pitch limits here in this Japan All-Star Series. An 80 pitch limit per game. Can't go more than 2 consecutive days. If a pitcher throws 30 or more, he's got to rest at least a day. 50 or more, he gets at least 4 days off. But if you're passing that 80 pitch limit, you can at least finish the batter, finish the plate appearance. So something to watch for Norimoto, who has been perfect to this point. Jeremy Guthrie back out there. This is pitch number 67. And it's in there for a strike.
Has there ever been a perfect game with less than 80 pitches?
I'd say Greg Maddux, but I don't think that that's right. Fly ball left field. And Kikuchi is retired for out number 1 here in the 5th.
I say that because there's a strong possibility that could happen tonight.
With the way that he's going, obviously feeling pretty good about himself. He's been absolutely dealing.
And the fact that the Major League All-Stars are struggling against him. They want to go up there swinging first pitch if they get a fastball. He threw only 7 pitches last inning. I mean, we can go the next couple of innings where he basically throws 10 pitches.
Yeah. Matsuda takes inside. Matsuda 1 for 2, singled in the 3rd and came around to score on the Nakata home run. And now, knowing that there's that pitch limit and the fact that Norimoto is at 60, even though I was the one that said, hey, get aggressive out there, swing at the first pitch. You know there's a pitch limit. I would almost go out there and take and get him up to 80 and get a new arm in there.
Believe me, no one is thinking pitch count right now. This almost is like a Sunday getaway game for the MLB All-Stars. It's like, come on, guys, swing the bat.
Jeremy Guthrie's day coming to a close with that 80 pitch limit looming. This is number 72, and it's upstairs to Matsuda.
So gotten all the chants down yet? I'm starting to get the beat now.
Yeah.
I've heard it like 15 times already. So I'm with it.
In there for a called strike 3. A breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Guthrie has his 3rd strikeout.
Mike Winters behind the dish. MLB umpire. Just going to give you that outside pitch. You might as well take advantage of it. Curveball around the corner, going back to the home run early in the game.
That was Nakata's home run in the 3rd that doubled that lead to 4-0. This one on the ground to Longoria. And a 1-2-3 5th for Jeremy Guthrie. He's still got 6 pitches to work with. We'll see Norimoto when we come back. .com/shop for the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, hoodies, collectibles, and more. Get your gear straight from the source. MLB.com/shop. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. How do you like this, Darrell Hamilton? A new pitcher for Samurai Japan, despite the fact that Takehiro Norimoto wasn't just good, but perfect through 5 innings.
A little surprising. Very surprising. Let me quit that. I thought there's a good possibility he was going to pitch a perfect game.
You thought he was going the distance?
I thought he was. Great split finger, good fastball. Little slider inside. Got great movement on his ball. Change ups. I think towards the latter part, last couple innings, he started really feeling it. He started going to his fastball a lot more and really challenging the MLB hitters.
So Yuki Nishi will come in to pitch after 5 perfect innings from Norimoto. We talked about the pitch limitations, an 80 pitch limit, but Norimoto done after 60. So Hiroki Kikobu deciding to go to his bullpen.
Nishi starting 25 games this past season. The MPB. 12-10 record with a 3.29 earned run average.
Face the bottom third of the major league lineup here in the top of the 6th. Lucas Duda takes outside. Duda will be followed by Dexter Fowler and Alcides Escobar. And look, we've talked about workload a lot for the major leaguers, but keep in mind, Norimoto also pitched 202 2/3 innings in Nippon professional baseball. So if you're going to go out with 5 perfect innings against a stacked major league lineup, might be a good way to end your year.
And we're not familiar with Nishi, the way he pitches, but he's got the same type of motion as Norimoto. If he didn't have it prior to seeing Norimoto pitch today, why not do it? Because it worked for him.
Nishi pitching with the Oryx Buffaloes, a 3.29 ERA and 156 innings pitched.
Mostly a fastball slider guy. 80% of his pitches are those. Challenging hitters.
Just misses low and away at Lucas Duda, who struck out back in the 3rd inning. One of the 6 strikeouts for Norimoto in his 5 innings of work. That's in there for a called strike 2. Similar spot to the pitch before. Duda thought he had it. Instead, the count runs full.
And pitch count aside, I think it is important to get other players out there on the mound, get their experience in these games.
Just misses inside. Wow. Duda will take ball 4, and we will not see a combined perfect game tonight.
Wow.
But the no-hitter is still intact. First base runner for the Major League All-Stars.
That is a good pitch. Fastball, kind of middle end. I thought it caught the plate. Plate umpire Mike Winters thought not.
Shima tried to frame that pitch, unable to pull it back for strike 3. So Dexter Fowler will step in. He too struck out back in the 3rd. Swings through the first pitch from Nishi. It's 0-1.
And Nishi is probably a good guy to have on the mound for the MLB All-Stars. Not really concentrating a lot on off-speed pitches. Like I said earlier, 80% of his pitches are fastballs. A little bit of slider here and there. Of course, he throws the changeup. Oh, right on cue. Perfect.
Like I said the other night to Mark DeRosa, that just means that you're thinking like a hitter. And he's out thinking you. That's all that means.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, all right. I'll tip my hat to it.
That's the natural cat and mouse game that is baseball, isn't it?
It is that.
0-2 pitch to Fowler. In there for a called strike 3.
Yeah, to me, if a big league hitter is physically drained but more mentally drained at the end of a ball game, that tells me he's out there trying to do his job the right way. Because baseball is not about going out there and having a performance physically. You've got to think a lot. You've got to think a whole lot. If you're a hitter, you're trying to outthink that pitcher on the mound. Say the days that I was exhausted was when I was facing the Atlanta Braves and Greg Maddux. And you basically had to try to outthink him because he threw any pitch at any time, and it wears you down. And it's fun, but it wears you down. Physically, you're not that tired, but mentally, you're drained.
What they would call a comfortable 0 for 4, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you could put it that way, but you know, he was one of those rare guys that didn't throw 95 that you felt good against, but yet he moved the ball all over the place and he frustrated you because you didn't know what was coming.
Alcides Escobar gets underneath that one, pops it up, shallow center field. Going out is Sakamoto, and he puts it away for out number 2.
Man, I've only faced 2 guys in my big league career where I had absolutely no idea what they were throwing. Greg Maddux was one. The other was Pedro Martinez. I had absolutely no idea. Pedro Martinez struck me out one time. The first 2 times up, he struck me out on a changeup, struck me out on a slider. So I went up there the last time and I said, okay, I got a strange feeling he's going to do this against me. He throws a changeup first pitch, changeup second pitch, slider third pitch, I'm out. I said, okay, well, it was enjoyable. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Darryl, I like you. We've worked together quite a bit. Shared a couple of meals together. Called games together. You are such a liar. It's not even funny. You hit 409 against Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux, I figured it out later. I will admit I figured it out later. Okay, he struck me out a good bit, but I figured it out later. And I did most of that my last couple of years facing him, believe me.
So you're saying you were like 0 for your first 10, 9 for your next 12? Is that what you're getting at?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of at-bats against him.
Ben Zobrist takes a called strike. Down to the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Zobrist 0 for 2.
It's always good when your partner on the air calls you a liar. But in a good way. I'll take that. I'll take that any other way.
That's right. It's better than telling the story. I own Greg Maddux.
That is true.
Yeah, you hit 1 home run off him and you were 1 for 46. A little more of a truth teller when it comes to Pedro. 0 for 4. Oh. Small sample size, though.
Small sample
and
size.
An uncomfortable 0 for 4, I'm
uncomfortable.
Sure. That's an uncomfortable.
He threw hard. I tell you, I can't get anything past you. You got the numbers right in front of you or something.
It's all in my head.
Okay.
Yeah. Ask me anything.
Well, I didn't play for the Yankees, so I'm surprised you know anything about me.
That's
I went there.
That's to get me back for calling you a liar?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
You know I don't work alone, right? I have voices in my head. They tell me things.
Well, I have noticed that from the number of times we've worked together. There are plenty of times we were talking to yourself, and I knew something was kind of strange.
The 0-2 to Ben Zobrist. Takes upstairs 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zobrist, one of those guys with the Tampa Bay Rays, has been there for a while, like Evan Longoria, who in 2015 will be playing for a new skipper, a new GM. Fights that one off. Norimoto with ice on his shoulder, ice on his elbow. But was he ever on fire tonight? 6 strikeouts in 5 perfect innings. Setting down the Major League All-Stars through 5 innings on just 60 pitches before handing it over to Yuki Nishi here in the 6th. Zobrist stays alive.
And very rarely you see some of these big league hitters look lost at the plate. And I get it. I understand that a lot of these guys hadn't played for about a month. I get that part. But still, we're talking about some pretty good hitters. Evan Longoria, Justin Marneau, Yasiel Puig. These guys look kind of lost at the plate. You don't see that too often.
Swing and a miss. And much like me, Ben Zobrist will talk to himself going back to the dugout. Second strikeout of the inning. The pitching has been great. The offense on the strength of 2 home runs. Samurai Japan with a 4-0 lead. 2014 Japan All-Star Series rolls on. Paul Severino, Darrell Hamilton, and a new pitcher for the Major League All-Stars as Randy Choate will replace Jeremy Guthrie, who went 5 innings. Gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 2-run home runs. 1 to Naoto Sakamoto in the 2nd and another to Sho Nakata in the 3rd.
Choate, the 39-year-old lefty, St. Louis Cardinals, 2-2 on the season with a 4.50 earned run average. Situational pitcher. And then usually to face lefties.
Yoshitomo Tsutsugo, the DH, 0 for 2. See how he fares against the side armor. Takes a called strike. Are the chances loud on the field?
Yes. Yes. Extremely loud on the field.
Line drive, base hit into right center field. And a leadoff single here in the 6th.
I think as the game wears on and the Samurai Japan team is winning, those chants get louder and louder. Fans really start getting into it. I mean, it's fun, but again, it wears you down a little bit.
Especially when you're off. You say it all the time during the regular season. When an offense is struggling to score runs, struggling to get hits for a couple of days, a week at a time, well, they look flat. Sometimes the pitching is just good.
Yeah.
But it's still frustrating nonetheless. It's kind of like the Seattle Seahawks with that 12th man. I mean, this crowd is into it. It also helps when guys like Sakamoto are hitting home runs to get them on their feet. Did so back in the 2nd. And now on the ground, Escobar to Cano to Duda for the 6-4-3 double play.
And don't let any player, a former player, tell you that the crowd doesn't have an effect on him during the game. When you're playing in a foreign country, the home team is beating you pretty good. Fans are very loud. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's really tough. Just like playing on the road in a playoff game. A lot of the fans, I can remember the Atlanta Braves with the tomahawk chop. I mean, that just drove you crazy. And, you know, I love it when I hear guys after games, oh, it didn't affect me. Yeah, it did. It affected you. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Saw a shot of Alcides Escobar. Talk about a terrific atmosphere in Kansas City. Waited a long time for a playoff team. They got one. And a double play helps Randy Choate face 3 in the 6th. 4-0 Japan.
All-star from the dugout has been nothing but Takahiro Norimoto. He's basically shut down an all-star team of big leaguers on 60 pitches. 15 up, 15 down. The consistency of shutting down those pitches, 16 in the first and 7 in the last inning. Yes, he left with a perfect game. Anytime you get a starter on the mound who's thrown so well, it's always tough to get your time together. A lot of these big leaguers have been off for a few weeks, but that's no excuse. Norimoto has been phenomenal tonight, and it's a confidence builder. I guarantee you, come World Baseball Classic in a couple of years, it's going to be one of the guys in their starting.
That's what they're kind of hoping for, and that's why they were so adamant to reignite this Japan All-Star Series. We hadn't seen it since 2006. It was going on a much more regular basis. Of course, the World Baseball Classic then started right around that time. We've seen 3 of those so far. 2006, 2009. Japan won both times. And Robinson Cano was on the Dominican team that won in 2013 as he leads things off. 0 for 2. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Major League All-Stars against Yuki Nishi here in the 7th, his second inning of work, and that one got Cano on the right foot.
Little painful. It's one of those spots where you, as a hitter, think there's no way I'm going to get hit in the foot. Kind of short hopped it to home plate. Guarantee you this will probably be his last inning.
Good option behind him. Jose Altuve, another second baseman. Looks like Cano going to stay on at first base. After the hit by pitch. John Farrell's going to come out and just check on Robinson Cano.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he stays in this game, to be quite honest with you. Kind of in a bad spot.
Go back to Robinson Cano in the World Baseball Classic. Hit .469 with a couple of home runs, 6 RBIs, the tournament MVP. Really no surprise that he was able to put on a show prior to the 2013 season. His last with the New York Yankees before moving over to the Seattle Mariners. And in fact, that will be it for Cano, as Jose Altuve will take over as a pinch runner and will obviously stay in the ballgame to play second base.
And the one thing that I truly loved about the World Baseball Classic is team from Dominican Republic. They looked like they were having a blast. I mean, it was fun for them to play together as a unit, and it showed on the field. The excitement on the field and in the dugout was overwhelming. And I know they took a lot of criticism because a lot of people said, oh, you know, this is not the way you play baseball. But in Dominican Republic, where I played winter ball, this is how they play. They enjoy themselves. They let it go. They have fun. And they showed it. And it was amazing seeing big leaguers looking like kids again.
Carlos Santana pinch hits for Evan Longoria here in the 7th, with Altuve on at first, pinch running for Robinson Cano. And don't forget, Robinson Cano also defensively the other night went to go make a play to his left, ranging into the hole, into shallow right field, turned and threw, kind of lost his balance a little bit, fell backwards. His head hit the turf kind of hard. It's a little bobble there by Shima. So for Cano, he's got banged up a couple of times. That's obviously the last thing that you want here.
Yeah.
Both, of course, were accidents.
And he plays every day. I mean, the last 8 seasons, I think the fewest games he's played is 157. That's completely nuts. So he gets out there no matter what and plays. But in that situation, I knew he was coming out of the game.
Santana to first base, knocked down by Yamada. Will take it himself for the force. Altuve moves to second base. Justin Morneau will step in. So Santana, another one of those guys. We talked about Ben Zobrist with some positional flexibility. Eduardo Nunez. Santana. Play a little first, play a little third as he's pinch hitting for Evan Longoria. Probably stay in at the hot corner. Morneau, the DH today, giving way to Lucas Duda at first. Morneau is 0 for 2, struck out back in the second and flew out in the fifth. 1 for 10 in the series, but the one was a home run to straightaway center field yesterday. Takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, one thing I've noticed with the MLB All-Stars is that their timing is off because the pitchers for Samurai Japan really hold the ball well. I mean, they basically keeps those hitters at home plate stagnant. They're not moving and trying to get that time. Most guys have some type of rhythm when they're facing a particular pitcher, but the fact that the pitchers with Samurai Japan, you can't really get your timing correct. During the windup, there's a little bit of a pause before they deliver the ball. During the stretch, kind of the same thing. As a hitter, that really messes you up.
Altuve off of second base. Morneau fouls it back. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And you go up and down the lineup. A lot of these guys have some type of rhythm, some type of movement prior to the pitch being thrown. And I've watched them the last couple nights, and they're at a standstill. And when you are kind of not doing anything, not moving around, preparing for a pitch to come, it's hard to catch up with a fastball. Even harder with an off-speed pitch.
Nishi set to deal the 1-2 to Morneau, who swings and misses. And there are 2 away. Third strikeout for Nishi since coming in, replacing Norimoto in the 6th.
Two-seam fastball, kind of middle away. Morneau can't hold up.
I'm going to bring up Yasiel Puig, who's 0 for 2. At the risk of sounding like I'm making an excuse, how long did it take to get used to the time difference?
You're talking about what we're doing right now, or are you talking about the players?
I'm talking about the players.
It took a little while.
Just give me a cup of coffee. I'll do whatever. Doesn't matter.
It took a little while. I mean, it usually takes between 2 and 3 days to get your bearings together, and then you get used to it. But that first couple nights after making that flight, because we flew from Chicago directly to Tokyo, that's, oof, I tell you, you're pretty much lost. You're like up all night, because usually you're probably falling asleep on the entire flight all the way over.
Because I just wonder, I mean, they flew over to Tokyo. I mean, I get my days and nights mixed up as it is. But I think it was Sunday, and here we are now Saturday. So it's been about a week.
Today's Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm the last person you want to ask. But again, I get, and maybe I'm doing what I was talking about before. You know, an offense can't get hits, can't get runs. They look flat. You look up and down the dugout, guys look a little run down. Now, maybe it's the time difference. Maybe it's the fact that they're just frustrated at the plate. Maybe it's the fact that it's, you know, mid-November.
I think all those factors come into play. And I'm not trying to make excuses, because that's what it sounds like. But a lot of these guys are trying to get this thing going again after being shut down for a few weeks. The guys who have played in the playoffs, and you played on the biggest stage in baseball, and now you're trying to get it going again for a series against Samurai Japan. It's hard to do.
Puig swings and misses, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And every guy in the MLB All-Star dugout lost this year. There's no one represented by the San Francisco Giants. So, I mean, the frustrating part that your season ended without winning the World Series championship, and then you're trying to get it going again. And we talked about 4 players from the Kansas City Royals ball club. I mean, it's hard. You lose Game 7, all of a sudden, okay, let's get ready for a series over in Japan. That's tough.
2-2 pitch to Puig. Chases a pitch outside. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Nishi. No hits through 7 for the Major League All-Stars. The 2014 Japan All-Star Series continues, and here is your chance to own a piece of history. Bid now on game-used memorabilia from the 2014 Japan All-Star Series at www.mlb.com/JapanAS-auction. Talked about the major leaguers touring different parts of Japan, including the embassy with Caroline Kennedy, the ambassador to Japan. So again, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come here, not just on a vacation, but really a first-class tour around a tremendous country, a tremendous part of the world. Now if they could just get some hits.
So they've been searching for some hits in this situation. Nothing really has gone well for them. See, about 70,000 again tonight, you think? Close to it.
Place holds 70.
Looks like a sellout to me.
Tokyo Dome opened in 1988. Seen a lot of events, concerts, football games, baseball games.
Wow, opening in '88. That was a MLB stadium. It'd have been torn down by now. It'd have been the new one.
Yeah, right. Right, unless it was called Wrigley, Fenway, or Dodger Stadium.
There you go.
Might be right. Hiroki Kikubu looks on, and 8-9-1 due for Samurai Japan with a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. A new pitcher for the Major League All-Stars as Jeff Beliveau comes out to pitch from the Tampa Bay Rays. 24 innings this year. 28 strikeouts. He was the pitcher that came on in relief in that exhibition game against the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants with the bases loaded and 1 out. Got a strikeout and a fly out to preserve that 8-7 victory. But since then, it's been an offensive struggle for the Major League All-Stars. Down 4-0 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. A lot of lefties in the bullpen for John Farrell's bunch. Not sure if that was by design or just who was available to make the trip. We've seen Choate, Beliveau pitching right now. Saw Blevins last night. Franklin Morales, Hector Santiago, Tsuyoshi Wada pitched last night. Yamada walked in the 2nd, singled, and was stranded in the 4th. Talked earlier about that pitching staff for the Tampa Bay Rays. Beliveau obviously a part of that, but in recent years it's changed quite a bit. James Shields on the move as he enters his free agent year. Jeremy Hellickson traded in the last day or so. Obviously David Price dealt at the deadline. Matt Moore working his way back from Tommy John surgery. And pitching has always been a strength for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Saw an interesting tidbit last night about John Lester. The fact that the Kansas City Royals have jumped into the mix.
Were you one of those guys that thought that he was going back to Boston? And again, not to say that he's going to Kansas City or going anywhere in particular. I'm just saying, take me back to July 31st. Were you of the mindset that he would end up back in Boston?
Initially, when the trade happened, yes. I thought that he possibly could go back. But now that I'm looking at it and seeing some of the things that have been written and said, I don't think so anymore.
Yamada pops this one up to Puig in right. And there's one away in the 7th.
A lot of things happen after the fact once a player is traded, and you get a chance to kind of assess your time there and understand the main reason why they traded you. And I think sometimes when you sit back and look at it, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And I think at this point, now I'm not saying, I don't know for sure, but this is just some of the things that's speculating. I think John Lester was probably a little upset after the fact that he was traded by the Red Sox.
Motohiro Shima will step in and takes one in the dirt. Walked in the 2nd, flew out in the 4th.
Tell you what, it wouldn't be a bad idea to look at the Kansas City Royals. Young ball club, exciting ball club. The lineup is pretty solid. Any type of pitching. Try to decide what they're going to do with Billy Butler.
He's now a free agent officially, and I mean they do have some guys that are locked up. Sal Perez, of course, being one of them, but you just get the sense that the window of winning, that 3, 4, 5-year window of winning, may be just starting to open for the Kansas City Royals, as opposed to the team that they've been trying to chase down the last number of years, the Detroit Tigers, who obviously still have the weapons to go out there and win. Miggy's there for the next decade or so. Victor Martinez signed back for 4 years, $68 million. But Scherzer a free agent. Got David Price for another year, Justin Verlander for a while. Shima takes a called strike 3 on the outside corner, and there are 2 away here in the 7th.
And that window of opportunity you're talking about, that's what's so impressive to me for the 2 organizations in the National League. I'm talking about the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants. It seems like every year, from the Giants' point of view, every other year, that they're in the mix. And even though the Giants have won the World Championship every other year, going back to 08 or 2010, 12, and 14. Those in-between years, they have still been in the mix. They've still played well enough to get to the playoffs. And from the Cardinals' point of view, with Tony La Russa retiring, Mike Matheny, they hadn't skipped a beat.
Yuki Yanagita takes a called strike. I guess the difference between the Cardinals, the Giants, and it seemed like the Rays would just be the revenue.
Yeah.
You could make a case that the Giants and Cardinals are on a short list of really model franchises, teams that have the resources to spend on a free agent or 2 that they might need. Good enough in their front office and player development to have a consistently good farm system to replenish guys that may leave. Call them up. I mean, look at the Giants and Joe Panik.
Yeah.
And what Joe Panik meant to that team in the postseason.
And I can't say those organizations don't make mistakes. They do. But the difference between a team that has the resources making a mistake and a team that doesn't is night and day. I mean, you can't, from Kansas City's point of view, they can't make a lot of mistakes. They just don't have the money to do that.
Be a 2-2 pitch to Yanagita. Swings over the top of the breaking ball, and that is strikeout number 2 in the inning and out number 3. The Major League All-Stars still looking for their first hit through 7. 1990, when Chuck Finley of the California Angels and Randy Johnson of the Seattle Mariners combined to pitch a no-hitter in the finale of an 8-game exhibition between American and Japanese All-Star teams. Japan still won the series 4-3 with a tie. First time since 1970 that a touring U.S. team had left Japan with a losing record, but they finished on a good note. And we say that because as we go to the top of the 8th inning, Japan is working on that very same thing right now, a combined no-hitter. Takahiro Norimoto worked the first 5 innings, struck out 6 along the way, 5 perfect innings, in fact. Yuki Nishi came in the 6th inning. He went 2 innings, a walk, a hit batter, and Robinson Cano, and struck out 4. And now Kazuhisa Makita comes in to face Sal Perez, Lucas Duda, and Dexter Fowler here in the 8th. And Makita becomes the first pitcher to appear twice in this series. If you've been watching the games, you certainly recognize the delivery, the submarine delivery from the righty. Sal Perez down the line. Foul.
Usually when you get a pitcher who comes from way down under, a right-handed pitcher, when you have a right-handed hitter, the best pitch for a right-handed hitter to hit is that inside pitch. The biggest problem is trying to keep it fair. Sal Perez a little out in front on that ball. That is extremely close.
Wow.
You're already bailing out from the right side, and you throw an inside pitch, that certainly helps the hitter. Makita throwing 2 scoreless innings. His last time out.
And Perez takes upstairs. Perez 0 for 2, flew out and grounded out. And I made the comp the other day to a Chad Bradford because Makita's what, 6 or 8 inches off the ground with those knuckles scraping the dirt there.
And I think if you look at him, you would say he's a reliever, but he started 26 games this season. He's a starter.
Inside to Sal Perez, and he will take the leadoff walk here in the 8th.
Been a full-time starter for the last 3 seasons. I'll tell you, if I'm a big league team, I'm looking at him to be a reliever. Come in and shut the door. I'll tell you what, that's a nasty, nasty look from the right side.
It's almost like anybody knew, anybody other than Norimoto was probably a welcome sight for this Major League All-Star team. But even then, they have struggled to crack the hit column to this point as Lucas Duda fouls that one off. Duda 0 for 1, but also walked in the 6th.
Well, you called it. Just kind of stall.
That's right.
Get him out of the game.
That's right.
know the pitch count and get him out of the game.
But even that didn't work. At least not till now. Duda, in fact, was the first base runner for the Major League All-Star team when he led off that 6th inning with a walk, but was stranded as the 3 hitters behind him went down in order. Duda got the start at first base tonight. His first start at first in Japan, 2nd start overall, as John Farrell put him in the lineup in left field in that exhibition game against the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants. John Farrell, Terry Francona, who are two guys that never have to pay for a meal in Boston for 1,000, Alex.
This is true.
Duda goes down looking.
Wow, now that's a tough pitch for a lefty to hold back on. You're coming from way down under. A little bit of a changeup, kind of floats in there. Catch the outside corner. Mike Winters has been consistent with those corners. Both sides have complained a little bit.
11th strikeout of the night for the Major League All-Star team. Dexter Fowler has 2 of those. And he takes low for ball 1. Fowler hit .276 this season in 116 games with the Houston Astros.
I think Dexter has a little pressure on him coming into next season. He's got to perform well. Was injured part of the season. A lot of people don't realize George Springer, the talented right-handed, or I should say right fielder for the Astros, is primarily a center fielder.
But you're getting the sense that after 3 really rough years of well over 100 losses for the Houston Astros, that not only are they turned in the right direction, but the guys that are on the roster, maybe not all of them, but a good chunk of them, as Fowler takes the 1-out walk, that a good chunk of them are going to be around, that if this thing does turn in the right direction and stay on the positive track, that the guys that are on that roster are going to be the reason why, as opposed to the guys that are on the roster are going to be the pieces traded for the guys.
Right. I agree with that, and I think Dexter Fowler, I don't know where he stands as far as the future with the Astros. Came over in a trade with the Rockies, signed an extension with the Astros after getting traded. But again, George Springer's a regular center fielder. I think that's the position he wants to play. And the Astros have already discussed going out and signing a couple free agents.
And one look at the Kansas City Royals will tell you that a good defensive outfield is not a bad thing.
Oh, tell you, it saves a lot of runs. Pitchers are more confident because they know their outfielders are going to make some plays for them.
Royals are a team obviously strong up the middle with a guy like Sal Perez, this guy Alcides Escobar. A really good defensive bunch for sure. They struggled with the long ball at times this year, but also hit a few big ones in the postseason.
Yeah, you would never known that going into the playoffs, that they were at the bottom as far as hitting home runs in the major leagues. Had some huge home runs in the playoffs. Moustakas started to get his swing together. Alex Gordon.
And Escobar chases 2 away here in the 8th. It's been a no contact inning so far for Makita. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. But through 7 2/3, the Major League All-Stars still looking for their first hit, as the lineup card turns over once again. As Ben Zobrist will step in, 0 for 3. Struck out back in the 6th. Takes a called strike here in the 8th.
I think the thing I love about baseball today compared to about 20 years ago is it's year-round. And we're talking about this series with Japan. Winter meetings will start up in another couple weeks. We'll be talking about free agent signings, trades. The next thing you know, January will be coming around, and we're only a few weeks from that where spring training opens. It's starting to become a year-round thing.
Well, if it wasn't, we wouldn't have a job.
That is true. You can see MLB Tonight on year-round.
That's right.
And there's always content to throw out there. It's not like, you know, we're making it up. Well, at least not me.
Ben Zobrist to the right side. Makita covers. And through 8 innings, the Major League All-Stars are still without a hit. 4-0 Samurai Japan. Paul Severino, Darrell Hamilton. Just trying to give Matt and Harold something to talk about early Monday morning.
Doing a pretty good job at this point.
The Major League All-Stars are hitless through 8 innings. They've had a couple of base runners, 3 walks and a hit by pitch, but no hits thus far as Samurai Japan has a 4-0 lead. And outside of the fact that they have no hits, Samurai Japan is now 3 defensive outs away from taking the first 3 games of this Japan All-Star Series.
And they've been dominant. I mean, they've been consistent from their starters to relievers, from the top of the order to the bottom of the order. They've played well in all facets of the game. I mean, it's been pretty impressive to watch.
You saw Takahiro Norimoto, who started this game with 5 perfect innings. John Farrell trying to figure out the solution here. As Jeff Beliveau will come out for his 2nd inning of work and face 2, 3, and 4 for Samurai Japan. Ryosuke Kikuchi takes a called strike. He's 0 for 3. A Gold Glove second baseman in Nippon professional baseball. Hey, look at that. There's a new catcher.
Whoa.
Yes. It's not Sal Perez, but it's going to be a Royal back there. You knew that.
Of course.
Eric Kratz takes over behind home plate. The 1-1 to Kikuchi, low and in. Kikuchi came into this ball game 4 for 7 with a double and 2 RBIs and 2 walks. But again, 0 for 3 to this point. Heading toward the top of the lineup for Samurai Japan, has done his best to set the table outside of tonight's action, of course. But that's what these guys have done, top to bottom. Nobody's tried to really do too much. We've talked about it the last few nights. Their 2-strike approach has really been impressive. Just put the bat on the ball and avoid the strikeout. Beliveau, of course, doesn't care. He's got 2 strikeouts already.
I would love to see this Samurai Japan ball club face major league teams to see how they would do.
Like a whole team, you're talking
about.
The Giants, the Cardinals, whatever.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be interesting to watch because there's not a lot of power in the lineup. The guys put the bat on the ball. They make things happen. They don't strike out a lot. You make a mistake, they take advantage of it. They play primarily, I could see this team playing small ball and winning a lot of games.
Hiroki Kikobu, the manager of the Japanese national team, played with SoftBank in 2011. 18 seasons in Nippon professional baseball. Not sure how many no-hitters he was a part of. John Farrell, Terry Francona, Jose Altuve hoping that he won't add one to the list tonight. Looks like it could be an injury thing here with Beliveau. There's Mike Maddox and the trainer out there, along with Eric Kratz and Mike Winters.
And that's the last thing you want to do here by throwing another pitch or two. You feel something is not right. Good time to shut it down, which I think he will probably do. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously not exactly sure what happened. Faced 4 batters and struck out 3 of them. John Farrell will walk out and get an explanation as to what's going on. Belivo's night is done as the Major League All-Stars go to the bullpen. We'll be right back. 2-0 lead in this ball game, and a 2-0 lead in this series could be a 3-0 lead in this series. And if that's the case, they'll have 50 million yen in their pocket as you see how the prize money breaks down. 10 million yen per win, 50 million yen to the series winner, and a total of 100 million yen, about $860,000.
So we're not talking about chump change.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. As Matsuda and Nakata look on, a new pitcher for the Major League All-Stars as Jeff Beliveau left this ball game with an injury. And Franklin Morales will come in to replace him. Saw Morales pitch in the exhibition game between the Major League All-Stars and the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants joint squad. Morales did not have a good showing, to say the least. 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits and 5 runs. Started the 7th inning as John Farrell looked on as his team gave up a 5-spot net inning. They're able to hold on for an 8-7 victory that night. But in the 2+ games since, there has not been much in terms of offense for the Major League All-Stars, including tonight, where they have recorded 0 hits through 8 innings of work. And when they come to the plate in the 9th inning, it'll be 2, 3, and 4, 2 pinch hitters. I shouldn't say 2 pinch hitters. Jose Altuve, who came on as a pinch runner for Robinson Cano, who's been playing second base, and Carlos Santana, who will get his second at bat. He took over for Evan Longoria in the 7th inning. So 3 defensive outs standing in between Samurai Japan team and a combined no-hitter, something we hadn't not seen since 1990 when Chuck Finley and Randy Johnson combined for a no-hitter. 1990 was also the last time that a team from the United States lost a Japan All-Star Series. They lost a best of 8, 4-3, and there was a tie mixed in as well.
And because of the injury timeout, Franklin Morales gets to throw as many pitches as he needs to get loose. Good time for a lot of these guys to hold a conversation. Probably saying to himself, can we get a hit? Are you going to get a hit? No, I'm not. Are you going to get a hit? I don't know.
They got to get through the rest of this bottom of the 8th first. Just trying to keep Samurai Japan in striking distance, down 4-0. As Franklin Morales will take over, 142 1/3 innings with the Colorado Rockies. Deals to Matsuda, low and in. Mentioned that combined no-hitter in 1990, Chuck Finley and Randy Johnson. The starting pitcher tonight, Norimoto, wasn't even born yet. Matsuda in the air, center field, and Dexter Fowler, can of corn, 2 outs.
And Chuck Finley, back in the day, he was nasty. Tall lefty, the Angels, good fastball, he wasn't afraid to throw inside. Good curveball and slider. And a young Randy Johnson who was just trying to flat out overpower you with the fastball.
Sho Nakata, half of the Samurai Japan offense tonight with a 2-run home run back in the 3rd. Morales deals a strike.
The one thing I do love about watching this ball club with Japan, it looks like they're having fun. Remember back in the day, and I'd say maybe 15, 20 years ago, it was almost like you watch a team from Japan. They were so locked, they were so strict, so focused on winning that they didn't have a good time. And now it looks like guys are relaxed. They're having a good time. They're having fun. They're laughing for I believe, the first time that I've seen. And it looks like it's not a job anymore. It looks like it's fun.
Well, it's always more fun when you win, I guess, right?
True.
And I'm not just talking about these few games against the Major League All-Stars. I'm talking about international competition.
Absolutely.
3 World Baseball Classics. They've been a force in all 3 of them. They've taken home 2 of the crowns. And again, one of the reasons why they were pushing so hard to get this All-Star Series going again for the first time since 2006 was to gear up this fresh crop of youngsters. Sho Nakata being one of them, to get that next generation of Japanese stars, a little bit of international warm-up, as it were. They're actually using the World Baseball Classic baseball in this All-Star Series. So all in a preparation for the 2017 WBC.
And in my opinion, they've kind of taken over on what Cuba was as far as international play. Cuba was the country that basically won everything on an international level. Now I think Japan has taken over.
The payoff pitch from Morales. Foul territory. Coming in is Santana, going out is Kratz, throws the mask and puts it away. It wasn't easy, but he puts it away nonetheless. So we go to the top of the 9th inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up. No hits for the big league All-Stars. Hamilton, the story of this ball game has been the pitching of Samurai Japan, as Takahiro Norimoto worked 5 perfect innings. Yuki Nishi with 2 innings, didn't allow a hit. Kazuhisa Makita came in the 8th inning, was terrific as well, and all of that means that the Samurai Japan pitching staff is 3 defensive outs away from the first combined no-hitter in Japan All-Star Series history since 1990, when Chuck Finley and Randy Johnson no-hit Japan in the finale of that series. They've pitched extremely well. This will be Jose Altuve, and wouldn't it be something if the big league hits leader had 1 more left to break up this no-hitter.
Samurai Japan giving up no hits, 12 strikeouts on the night so far.
Yuji Nishino will be the new pitcher here in the top of the 9th inning. Jose Altuve came on as a pinch runner for Robinson Cano in the 7th inning. And we are hearing now that Robinson Cano is going for an X-ray on his right toe. Apparently just limped out of the Tokyo Dome. We saw him limping down the tunnel. And I think any minor bump or bruise, a guy's coming out of the ball game, but to now go for X-rays, we certainly hope that it's nothing more serious than that. But that got him kind of flush right on that right foot.
Had the shin guard on, but it missed the shin. Went right off the foot.
The 0-2 pitch to Altuve in the dirt. So again, according to MLB.com reporter Anthony Taccomo, Robinson Cano left the Tokyo Dome limping and on his way for an X-ray. Obviously, anything further, we'll do our best to pass that along to you. Carlos Santana on deck. Justin Morneau to follow. And the 1-2 pitch from Nishino to Altuve, tap foul to play.
That's the one thing you worry about when any exhibition game, so to speak. And when they want to get hurt, it's one of those freak things. No one's throwing at each other. Pitch got away. It's always a bad spot. Believe me, I understand the big toe.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Nishino got the save in the opener of this Japan All-Star Series. Worked a perfect ninth inning as Altuve fights it off. And you obviously don't want to get anybody hurt out here on either side, really, not just because we're more familiar with the big leaguers. You don't want to see anybody getting hurt. But if the Major League All-Star team loses this game with 2 games left in the series and 1 more exhibition after that, and if heaven forbid something happened with Robinson Cano and he suffered an injury, boy, oh boy, would the tone really change.
Yes.
So we obviously hope nothing but the best for Robinson Cano. Getting an X-ray on his right toe. And once again, the 1-2. Altuve swing and a miss, 1 away here in the 9th.
Like a split finger, throwing hard, you're getting in the mid-90s, and all of a sudden you come with that splitter. It's almost impossible for any type of hitter to hold up on his swing. We're talking about a pretty good one with Jose Altuve.
So Carlos Santana will step in. 0 for 1 tonight. 0 for 4 in the All-Star Series, and also went 0 for 4 in the exhibition game against the joint team of the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants. And a bunch of smiles in the dugout for Samurai Japan, as they are 2 outs away from taking a 3-0 lead in this series. Just outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Line drive, hot shot. Oh, Kikuchi with a terrific play. That's why he's got a Gold Glove. There are 2 outs in the 9th.
I thought that was possibly the first hit for the big leaguers.
Boy, did he sting that one.
Santana hit a low line drive. I thought it was going to short hop and get the outfield. Can't do anything but that. Great play at second base. 1 out away from the no-hitter.
And the last hope here for the Major League All-Stars, with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning, is Justin Morneau, who is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts tonight. And he takes ball 1. The new shortstop, by the way, is Kenta Imamiya. The 1-0 to Morneau. Swings over the top, and it's 1-1. Sho Nakata with a home run, a 2-run shot earlier in this ball game.
With the changeup, or the split finger, excuse me.
On the ground, right side. Yamada takes it himself, and the Samurai Japan team has combined to no-hit the Major Leaguers and win this one 4-0 to take the first 3 games of the 2014 Japan All-Star Series. That's really impressive. That is really, really impressive.
They played such a solid game tonight. Defensively, it was outstanding. Timely hits, a couple of home runs, but the pitching was off the chart. I mean, they were very aggressive early on. The fastball got ahead of the MLB All-Stars and basically shut them down after that.
The offense in this series for the Major League All-Stars, 9 for 87. As congratulations to Hiroki Kikobu, Takahiro Norimoto, Yuki Nishi, Kazuhisa Makita, and Yuji Nochino as they combine to no-hit the Major League All-Stars. And what's interesting is that coming into this series, we knew that the Samurai Japan team had some good pitching for sure. But we kind of circled Kenta Maeda, who was a guy who may be posted in the very near future with an opportunity to play in the major leagues. Chihiro Kaneko was the Sawamura Award winner this past year. But it was Takahiro Norimoto who went 5 perfect innings to start this ball game and really set the tone for this Samurai Japan pitching staff, which combines to no-hit the Major League All-Star team and win the game 4-0.
Well, Norimoto, to me, if you did not think he could possibly pitch in the big leagues, I think he woke everybody up. He was outstanding, going 5 innings, giving up no hits. Basically, he was perfect on the night. A great fastball, good splitter, good slider, all the pitches you need to be a successful big league pitcher. Again, if you don't think he can pitch in the big leagues, you're possibly wrong tonight.
Wow, what a ball game. Fun to watch. Unfortunately for the Major League All-Stars, unable to collect a hit. On behalf of all of us here at MLB Network, thanks for joining us for our coverage of the 2014 Japan All-Star Series. Games will continue through November 20th. For Darrell Hamilton and our entire crew, I'm Paul Severino saying goodbye from Tokyo. 2 two-run home runs for Samurai Japan and no hits for the Major League All-Star team. A 4-0 final. Terrific defense in the 9th inning by Kikuchi at second as Samurai Japan wins the first 3 games and wins game 3 in a no-hitter.